backup recording. Then see that record. Okay. Oh, somebody turned it off. Let's turn it back on. Okay.
Water before we start.
This is handy. Sometimes there's problems, you know. Audio that is only, right? Where's that video go?
Where does a dog park its car?
Yeah,
Where?
Okay, you can
In a parking lot. Oh!
minimize it.
When I do those nursing home shows, they don't get the one-liners. I have to tell them a whole story.
What's the difference between an enzyme and a hormone?
What?
You can't hear an enzyme.
Oh, you're gonna get it.
Oh.
He's gonna get it.
Yeah, that's yeah. well, they
It's
did
treading on dangerous waters.
Yeah. They did a joke on Saturday Night Live the other night where Michael he said Godzilla -1 is doing very well, and so was its prequel Oppenheimer.
Womp womp.
All right, so I'm not the only one that didn't get it.
Pause button.
Yeah.
That's,
You got it, didn't you?
Mm-mm.
Okay, then. Why'd you laugh then?
Because I don't know. You were laughing. I
Did
laughed
anybody get it?
Tell the truth, people.
I don't know. I walked out on Oppenheimer. It was too
Who
slow.
was up and wait a minute.
It's a movie.
I just got it.
Kill. Oh, you did get it. Okay. Okay, we're ready.
tell Sal to watch the timer.
Okay.
All right.
5, 4.
Then I go start. No, now we got to start our streams. Okay. Right now. Let's start with Twitch.
We're training our new producer, Ann's brother,
There
Michael.
it is. Twitch has accepted the stream. Now go to YouTube. YouTube has accepted.
YouTube has accepted the stream.
Now go to Facebook. Facebook, they make you press a button.
Okay.
We wait and see if they accept it. Facebook has accepted the stream. Now Sal has to watch the timer.
I'm watching.
Start the timer, Mr. Engineer.
There it goes.
Welcome to the Oracle of Enlightenment. I'm the observer, Sal Monaco, here with our some of our regulars, the lovely Ann Burka,
Hi.
Brandon Majeski. He's back after a couple of shows of not being able to Zoom, and of course my beloved partner Jen Thomas, or JT the Great.
JT the Great, don't you forget it.
And joining us a second time, the lovely Miss Ann McQueen. And we appreciate that you're here, Ann, considering how under the weather you are. Yeah.
Anything I can do to help.
Okay. And joining us for the first time, ladies and gentlemen, the lovely Miss Trisha.
Hi, everybody.
Now say your last name so I don't...
It's Ferraro.
Ferraro. Okay.
Trisha Ferraro.
Trisha Ferraro. Okay. So, welcome to the show, and I hope everyone had a good New Year and a good January with all that snow and everything. Jen and I attended the Ice Capades yesterday. What did you...
Spent a fortune on food.
I know. It's a good thing we got parking for free.
You got to
Yeah.
carry a big bag and sneak the food in.
Right? Yeah. Definitely.
I think it's wrong that they do not
don't
allow
allow- yeah.
adults to dress in cosplay. All the kids were in cosplay, but they said nobody over 14 was allowed to do it unless you just wore headgear, like a couple of the ladies were.
Oh, it's so
That's
unfair.
age discrimination.
It sure is.
But I think they were afraid they were doing it for the same reason they did it down in Disney.
Walt Disney World.
Yeah, yeah. Because they don't want the kids thinking that these are the real characters and the people not being nice to them.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. Which actually makes sense to a certain extent. All right. Unfortunately, one of our new actresses was not able to make it tonight, so Trisha is going to be inaugurating herself with 2 roles tonight.
I'm so
Two,
lucky.
two rolls in one.
Yeah.
Yeah, Brandon. Since we had that problem last show with the Zoom, Anne's husband played your role, and he did a great job. Randy doing a radio guy. Nothing new. All right. First thing we're going to do is we're going to do our audio play. As I said, Anne McQueen is under the weather, so we'll cut her some slack because she's so wonderful for being here. All right. Now, this one is called Lunchtime and Athletics. Yeah, it's not a creative name, but what do you want?
Short and to the point.
Yeah. Margaret, Jason, Carla, Jolene, Lucy, and Rhonda are sitting in the school cafeteria.
Thank you all for joining me for lunch.
I'm glad to be here, Miss Rhonda. Oh, hippie mother.
Thank you. I'm sorry your birth mother couldn't make it, but your 2 aunts came.
Groovy. I love you, Aunt Lucy and Aunt Jolene.
Same here.
I love you too.
Groovy. Peace, ladies.
Why am I here? I don't remember volunteering for a hippie love fest.
I asked you and Margaret to be here to discuss the school's next fundraiser.
Thank you. This is the first time I've been to the school. I hear Matt talk about it all the time. Matt says, you're the best assistant he's ever had.
You're the one who told him about Donna being more popular than Grayson and Jericho, which led to the creation of the Alt Pulse radio show.
Yes, I did. And when Matt got promoted, I got his old job.
Well, I'm glad to see you. Welcome.
I don't see why we have to order lunch. I brought enough for all of us.
She brings out a fishing tackle box.
It is the food of the earth.
Looks like there's enough there for the whole school.
What's in there?
The first level is celery, carrots, cherry tomatoes, cucumbers, and hard-boiled eggs. Salt and pepper in there, too.
What's on level 2?
Oh, after dinner mints, cookies, gherkins, figs, apricots, prunes, cheese snacks.
Wow. Talk about a picnic.
Yeah, man, I got 4 fried egg sandwiches, a pickled hard-boiled egg, and deviled egg to put on the sandwich. Oh, don't forget the quail eggs.
Someone's an egg lover.
I can eat it all day.
You have enough there to do that.
What's on the bottom shelf?
Oh, that's where it gets good. Like mild green Mexican peppers, jumbo black olives, tiny corn on the cobs, like little babies, artichoke hearts, and chili sauce.
You're a gourmet. That still looks like a tackle box.
Okay, I mean, if it'll make you feel better, it is. But it makes a great lunchbox.
I believe we were going to discuss the fundraiser.
Yes, my idea is to do our own version of a decathlon.
How about we start with a 100-yard dash and finish with a 1-mile run?
I think a swim race in a diving competition would work.
Some log rolling would be cool. I saw it at the Erie County Fair last summer.
Baseball,
Golf.
Sack races, and oldie buddy goodie.
I've always loved skeet shooting.
Ooh, that would be so cool.
How about archery?
No, I want alt sports, something most people haven't seen played.
You could keep the archery and add an axe throwing and knife throwing, and axe throwing has been at the fair.
Midget throwing?
Oh, I saw that. I saw that at the haunted house, too.
She takes
How
out a
about-
salad.
How about some extreme barefooting?
Not everyone will want to partake in our lifestyle, but keep the ideas coming.
What's in the salad?
Oh, cucumbers, lettuce, tomato, cheesehead. This is a little bit of wild parsley.
Parsley. Yeah, right. That's pot.
No, it's parsley and oregano. And even if it was pot, it's legal.
That's like the salad Mr. Postman gets at work.
Yeah, he's our boss.
Carla takes out a small sandwich and two big ones.
What are those?
Oh, it's my special snack and sandwich.
I'm afraid to ask, but what's in them?
All right, so the snack is garlic nut butter square.
Giggity.
It's garlic pieces, peanut butter cream cheese, garlic juices on pumpernickel bread.
Can we get back to the business at hand? We need 10 events for the decathlon. If we want to do those medieval games, we will need insurance.
We can do staff fighting and war with the Nerf weapons.
How about some pirate plastic sword fighting?
Let's do Quidditch. That's cool.
How do you fly on brooms?
You have to keep them between your legs and while you run.
What about flying balls?
Oh, we dress a person up as one, and you have to pull the flag off of them.
Okay. Now, how about we go back to talking about your lunch and the nut butters or something?
Okay, so this is bologna with head cheese on garlic bread with mayo, horseradish, and hot mustard.
That's an interesting combo.
Yeah, this is my favorite.
She holds up
Corn.
the big one.
Corned beef, imported Swiss, lettuce, coleslaw, Russian dressing, kosher pickle, slice of tomato, mayonnaise, peanut butter, horseradish, hot mustard on marble rye bread. It's a great sandwich.
It sounds like a 5-course meal.
Do you have a glass-lined stomach?
Enough about lunch. Back to why we're here.
Well, if we're thinking crazy ideas, let's do Klingon bat'leth fighting.
That might be hard, but we could make them out of tinfoil.
I was kidding.
Hey, I know some steampunk games.
Steam what? A combination of sci-fi and historical fiction involving steam devices.
The games are dueling with dart guns, parasol dueling, and cookies and tea dueling.
Now I've heard it all.
These are all good ideas. We'll vote on them. And thank you all for your input.
Jason, you should take part. I bet you're quite the athlete.
Well, of course I am. But I'm not sure if I want to take part in this craziness.
Ha! I challenge you. I'll take part, and we could see who is the better warrior.
This all sounds great. I need to get more involved.
We will bring you into our craziness and embrace you.
You have no idea.
Yeah, I think I need an adult.
The end.
The end.
We did pretty good, except for midget throwing.
That was funny.
I missed that one.
And there was
Brandon.
cheese head in there too.
And the cheese head.
Yeah, and cheese head.
Yeah.
Yeah, but for Carla, that works.
These people are funny.
And it was, what about the flying ball? Not the flying balls. There's only one snitch in a Quidditch
Well,
game.
we could see with flying balls.
Stitches get stitches.
We only rehearsed it once.
I know.
What do you want?
After I said it, I thought, ooh.
Oh, no, it went really well. It
I was
went really
surprised
well.
nobody started laughing.
Well, sometimes the jokes get solid. Anne McQueen, you did a great job pronouncing everything in character, you know?
Thank you.
Yeah, you're wonderful. Do you need
Appreciate
to
that.
sign off now, or?
Yeah, I think I'm gonna hit the hay because like my throat is not happy with me. So
Okay.
Tea, honey, and lemon, sweetie,
I'm all over it. I just bought a bag of lemons
and
yesterday.
ginger ale,
Yep.
and chicken soup.
Paul's
Yep,
vitamin C defense drops.
all of the above. Hey, you guys, it's been real though. Thank you for letting me join and enjoy the rest of the show.
Have a good one.
Okay.
Get
Yeah, thank
better.
you so much.
Bye,
Nice
Ann.
to meet you.
Thank you. It's good to meet you too. Take care.
Jen, why did you say nice to meet you? You've known her for how many times at the meetings?
I have no idea who that is.
It's Randy's wife. Never mind.
Okay.
She's the one who after editing the first movie didn't realize that one character was played by the same actress. She thought it was like 3 different characters.
Well, she looked like 3 different characters.
Jen,
What movie was that?
we're happy that, huh?
What movie was that?
Oh, our first movie, Beyond the Mainstream, the movie where we introduced everyone, because it goes promo film. The chronology is promo film, short film, feature film, then web series. The audio plays and the stage shows are in a separate timeline. So we often recycle material in both. Hey.
Nick, that's because Sal is older than dirt.
I'm younger than you, Mick. But I didn't serve, so we thank you for your service.
Yeah, definitely.
And of course, Ann's brother Mike is our producer tonight, guest producer. Mike, thank you for helping out. Yeah.
Thank you for inviting me. I really appreciate it. Thank you.
Oh, yes. Why don't you tell our audience what got you into acting?
Oh, okay. Well, first of all, it was a childhood dream, but my mother was 100% against it. But as I got older, I've decided, and I'm going to tell this to everybody, don't waste your life. Do what you want to do. Do what you love, because life is so short. And after some events in my life lately, it's like when I started, I was a nervous wreck, and I was scared to go forward it. But then after lately, some events in my life changed my mind, and I realized, you know what? I love this. I love meeting people. I'm not going to give up. I'm just going to keep doing what I love until I can't anymore. So
Good for
just
you.
keep going.
She's also a singer, Jen. Your territory.
Nice.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'm a soprano. What are you?
I'm alto. But I've been singing for retirement homes and
Oh, that's
not
cool. Good
really
for you.
nursing homes, but assistant living places for like 40 years now. Yeah.
Nice.
After my mother passed away, then I started doing this. So, and I love it. And and again, now I keep telling them, oh, save me a seat. It's all warmed up. Don't worry about it. So, but when I started, they were all much older, and I saw these poor people. Well, now they're starting to look a little bit like me. I'm starting to fit right in there, But I won't give up, and I tell everybody, if you find your niche, you find something you love, just do it. Don't let nobody stop you.
Yes. Jen was a church singer.
Unless it's against the law.
Unless it's against the law.
That's right, Brendan.
Details.
Jen was a church singer.
I sang in a church. I was the soloist section support in the soprano section for the Church of the Nativity's chancel choir for 27 years.
It's funny you should say that, because that's actually how I started singing. But it was in Arizona, and I started singing at the church in Arizona. And then I did a church here, and then I got a little devilish, and I moved on to, I started doing bands, And then actually I made more money singing at these retirement homes and stuff.
Oh.
And it's a lot of fun. I mean, they get a kick out of it. I don't just
sure they
stand there
appreciate
and
it.
sing. I really try to entertain these people because, you got to make their day. Great.
Yeah.
So I try to
Definitely.
throw in jokes and as broken up as my old body's getting, I still dance. I still do all the monkey and the jerk, and I still try to throw those dances in there so they just and they love it.
Yeah,
so,
I'm sure.
Yep. Of course, I go to sleep and take a nap for a couple of days after that. Seriously.
Yeah. Our bodies don't want to cooperate with our minds
No.
when we get older.
Yeah.
Just remember, folks, getting older is a privilege.
Seriously, it definitely.
There's
is
no
a
future
privilege.
in it.
I know my body's telling my brain, I'm 20, and my brain's looking down and saying,
No, I agree. I mean,
Yeah.
I have the mind of a 20-year-old, but the body still have the body of a 55-year-old.
yeah. Well, 55, I should be 55.
You're only 55, Sal? You look a lot older.
Oh.
Watch it. And need I remind you, you're only 2 years younger than me.
3.
Okay, 3.
For another month and a half.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I'll be 2 years younger than you.
Yeah.
But I'll be 15 years older than my husband.
Yeah.
15 years older. Wow.
Not like you and your sister are cougars or anything.
Yeah.
My husband's 5 years older than me, so I always remind him, you really need to treat me nice because you got to remember, when I was 5, you were 10.
Well,
When I was 10, you were 15. So
Yeah.
I go up the scale.
my dad was 9 years older than my mom. So.
Yeah. My mother always told me you should marry a man a lot younger than you so you die together. I swear to God, that's what she told me. Well,
I think that was a next gen joke. Well, that's okay. I dated a younger woman recently, so
Oh.
she was a sweetheart.
And,
It didn't work out.
oh. Well, I guess she wasn't so much of a sweetheart as you're saying.
Yeah, well, what can I say?
Not everybody can tolerate Sal long term.
Very true. Jen's known me since she was 19.
Wow. Just go to school together?
No, we just knew each other through mutual friends and organizations.
I have a couple of friends that I've actually known since 3rd grade. Seriously, yeah. And then we
Me
don't
too.
we don't see each other all the time,
But you keep in touch.
but we
yeah.
keep in touch, and they'll always be a part of my heart. So that's the greatest for me, is to have that kind of feeling for people. Stop
That's really
yawning
nice.
up there. I see.
Yeah, what is it? That was like your 10th yawn. What's going on here?
I start watering and I start yawning and my nose gets stuffy and starts running. I can't stand it. I don't know what it is.
Okay.
Got allergies?
I don't know what
Sounds like
happens.
Sounds like an
Sorry.
allergy.
Well,
All right, well, I'm going to drop off then. Why don't you guys have a good time
Okay.
and enjoy the rest of the show?
I'm like an old mother hen myself, so I got to take care of everybody.
well, then she'll
Yep.
fit in just fine in this crew.
Absolutely. You sure will.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming tonight.
All right, thank you for
Have a
having
good
me.
night.
Really appreciate it. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Love it.
All right, bye, Jen.
Bye.
Bye, honey.
Okay. Now you were telling us how you got into acting.
Oh, well, actually, it just kind of fell into my lap, through a friend who wanted me to be a background actress, and for years, I kept saying, no. And then after I retired, I thought, I might as well. What could it hurt? And well, from there, I did, 4 Christmas movies. Assault on VA 33. If you look at that, I'm one of the people on the floor were hostage. That was a lot of fun. That was so much fun because it was filmed in the old children's hospital.
Mm-hmm.
And no lights. They pumped in lights. No heat, so we were all sitting in this one little room. There was like 10 of us in this room. And they kept yelling, quiet on the set, quiet on the set. And we go, shh, shh, shh. And 10 minutes later, we were like kids, you know, all back yelling. But it was a great experience, and it was a lot of fun. And now I'm just stepping out more, trying to maybe accept more roles, if you want to say.
Okay.
And it just all kind of fell into my lap. I didn't have to go searching for it. So,
Hey, good talent
yeah.
is a premium here in Buffalo.
well, you know, I feel like acting is, when you're a kid, you pretend, you know? Well, this is sort of the same thing, only a realistic pretend,
Yeah.
you know? So, and you just got to go for it. That's all I can think of is, you know, do what you love. Love what you do.
Well, you said 4 Christmas movies?
Four Christmas movies, I think it is. 3 or 4. And The Salt on the A33.
Mm-hmm.
That one Christmas I told you, we were all in this big ice rink, and there had to be a good 30 or more extras, because I was one of the extras. And I'm sitting there, and I was really loving the ice skating. That's another thing I've always loved, but my ankles were never strong enough. And I was just really absolutely loving the ice skating and what they were doing. You know, it's so amazing how they put a movie together, because a movie is not what you really see. It's pieces of everything. And at the end, the way they put it together is so spectacular. How could you not love it? You know? And so I'm sitting there and thinking, you're not going to see me. So I watch the movie, and all of a sudden at the end, there's my face like 6 times. I'm like, whoa, look at that. That is so cool. So, you know, at least I got something to leave behind when my time does come.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know what else to say. It's just a lot of fun. And I'm a horror movie fan.
Mm-hmm.
And I used to be afraid to watch them. Well, now that I know how they put it together, I love them. I watch them every night before I go to bed. No, they don't give me nightmares anymore. So.
Yeah, we start to see how it's done.
One of the actresses I met last year, she was so afraid of Nightmare on Elm Street that Freddy was going to get her in her dreams, she wouldn't go to sleep.
Oh.
So her mother brought her a magazine showing how
they
horror
make
movies
the
went.
makeup and all
And
that,
then when
yeah.
she grew up, she became an actress, and she took the role in Freddy versus Jason.
Wow, that's awesome.
And she's the girl, she's the actress that cuts Freddy's head off with the axe.
Nice,
And
perfect.
Lucky her.
upon filming that, she said, I am cured. How's that
Yes,
for therapy?
yep. I still don't like, though, movies that involve like a torture of an animal or a person or a child. I don't care how good the movie is. I won't watch it.
Yeah.
That's just, that to me is just going a step overboard. So out there, don't make movies that have anything to do with hurting animals or children. I mean, there's enough out there, those people that hurt these animals and children, so we don't need to see that
Well,
in
a lot
the
of
movies.
times, even in really bad thrillers or horror, they go out of their way not to injure
Yeah.
animals or humans
Or
on
make it
screen.
look like they're
on
hurting
screen.
them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just can't deal with that, though. I just,
What movies were you and Brandon in together?
oh, we were in the 48-hour festival this past one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of people take part in that one. I haven't yet, but
This was the
Uh-huh.
second
It's
time
just
in all
hard
these
to-
years.
Yeah, it always seems to fall at a bad time for me, but it
Yeah,
seems like a
same
lot of
here.
fun.
yeah,
It is a lot of fun, really.
Yeah, and so what got you into singing?
Oh, that's another childhood dream. You know, back then they had the albums, you know, and you play them on the record, and I had the Wizard of Oz album. And I would run through the house singing every song on the album. So it was just something I loved to do. And again, you know, through a church, singing in a choir. Then I don't know. It's again, I really didn't put all the effort into it that most people do. But I ended up singing with the band, and then after the band, I just started putting music together for myself and went from there, and just do stuff I love. I'm not going to give it up until I can't anymore, or until somebody says you know enough is enough. So I think I'm going to try to put in 10 more years.
Acting either keeps you young or it kills you. There's no very little middle ground.
Yeah. Well, you know, they give good advice to a long, healthy life, which, you know, I love my chocolate. Let's face it. I am such a chocoholic. That's, you know.
Me too, unfortunately.
But if you keep yourself busy in your mind, like I have crafts that I love to do, and of course, the acting and the singing and meeting new people. Love meeting new people and having friends. You know, my friends are all dying. They're getting so old, so I need some new friends.
Yeah, well, sometimes it's a mindset. I mean, I have lots of friends who are younger than me who might as well be old.
I know.
Yeah, that's
I
true.
know.
That's
When I
true.
see people my age, I think, oh my gosh, do I look that way? But I have to tell you, there was a time that came, and I got up and I flipped the bathroom light on and I screamed because I could swear my mother was looking back at me.
Oh,
You know?
that happens, yeah.
It's like, oh, good grief.
It's not going to happen, and then it does.
Well, now when I look in the mirror, I think, oh, I still look pretty good for an old lady. You know, and then I see a picture of myself, and it's like, no, that can't be. Something's wrong. But
Don't ever put yourself
No,
down.
I know.
You're very talented.
oh, thank you.
We
Thank
just
you.
saw you do a read through at the Buffalo Movie Makers meeting, and you did a really good job playing Grandma.
Well, that comes naturally.
Does it?
Yeah, very comes naturally.
So, for those fans who remember, Margaret was in the movie for about 5 seconds as a cameo for Kimberly Bellani, and we dusted her off. And Trish is taking over the character, and we're going to do more with her. And
Oh, thank you.
so, what did you think of the character?
Oh, I like the characters. I like doing the accent too.
Well, yeah. Thank you for filling in
That's good.
for the actress who wasn't able to make it.
No, of course.
So,
I once dressed up as what the flag lady. I'm forgetting. And well, anyway, I walked around.
Betsy Ross?
Betsy Ross. I had a flag that was half done. I actually sewed together. I actually sewed it together, and I walked around for the whole day talking with the southern accent because I just wanted to make sure everybody knew who I was. But I'm not even sure if she really had a southern accent. I don't know.
I don't know. She hasn't in most of their representations on TV.
Well, she had one when I was her.
Well, I mean, I'm not saying she didn't. I'm just saying we don't know for sure.
I lived down south for about 2 years in my younger days, and I kind of picked it up, you know, and I never lost it. But I would love to learn some other accents, but I've tried. It's like,
Just
Well,
practice and play with it.
I'll just let somebody else do that.
But we get a chance to finally develop Margaret.
Oh, good.
I tend to not have throwaway roles in my film. You know, if I create a character, it's for a reason, not just because. I mean, if it's a cameo, okay, but we may dust off the character. I mean, unless you're an extra with no name, we're gonna keep your character around, which we did have a few in the first movie. But character is going to be developed in a new way now.
Good.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I appreciate you taking it over. Brandon, you've been in this 48-hour movie thing a few times, right?
Uh-huh.
I liked that movie you did with Heather. I can't remember what it was called. Where it took place in a comedy club, and she was being a comedian, and you were.
That wasn't a 48.
Oh, it wasn't?
No.
Oh, what was it?
That was just a short.
Oh, okay.
I was part of the Erie series.
Oh, okay.
Eerie series.
The Erie series. Yes, I've seen some.
Larry,
Yeah.
Larry Sanders.
Oh yeah, Larry's a good guy.
Know what movies I would like to see more of? I like horror films, but my favorites are the comedy horror films.
Oh yeah,
That's
yeah.
what I would like to see
And
more
we
of.
see quite a few of those at Greg Lamerson's Film Festival, and some of them are just really good, and some of them are just
Yeah. Well,
crazy.
If you watch a lot of YouTube, you really get that. And I watch a lot of those shows lately, and some of them are really, really good, and some of them are not so good. You know, and some of them need like sound or got too much music. So now I'm becoming a movie critic on top of everything else.
Well, speaking of movie critic, I have some movies I wanted to do a review of. If anyone has seen these films, feel free to chime in. First off, we have Migration. Very funny animated movie about birds migrating and discovering that when you leave your safe place, it's not always safe, but sometimes it feels really good just to get out there and, get out of your safety zone basically and enjoy life. As you said earlier,
As
life
I
is
said,
too
it
short.
sounds like I wrote it.
It's a fabulous film. It actually was better than I thought it was going to be. I mean, they refrained from getting too cheesy, and with Awkwafina and Elizabeth Banks, and it was a great cast. So yeah, I highly recommend it. Next, we have Mean Girls. Now, this was a musical remake of the first movie, not the sequel. There was a sequel, Mean Girls 2, which actually wasn't bad. But this was a remake of the first movie, only with the music and different people, except for Tim Meadows playing his role as the principal, which he played in all three movies. And Tina Fey reprising her role from the first movie. She was not in the second one. Where did I see Migration? At the Regal Cinema. These are all films I've seen at the Regal. Mean Girls, yeah, this was actually an improvement to the first one. Not saying the first one was bad, but this one was a bit of an improvement. So they get better as they go, basically. And I give Tina Fey a lot of credit for doing. But this main actress, she was no Lindsay Lohan, but she did a really good job. Next, we have Night Swim. Okay, now you want to talk about horror movies. This is the strangest horror movie I have ever seen. And I got to give them kudos for trying something different, because I've never seen anything like a haunted swimming pool. I mean, I was sitting there thinking, okay, how are they going to drag this out for 2 hours?
2 hours.
Or an hour and a half or whatever. I mean, it didn't seem like the type of movie that could be done at feature length, but I was wrong. They actually managed to make it genuinely scary, and they actually did some really great special effects, and it kind of reminded me of an episode of Legacy, but it didn't quite make it that high. Legacies is a great show. But I mean, it had a fascinating concept, great characters, and a very spooky atmosphere. The only thing I didn't like was the ending. The ending kind of
I'll have to see that one.
left you wondering, what the heck happened and why was it not resolved. Now, I'm hoping
I
the
don't like
reason it
endings
wasn't
like
resolved was because there's going to be a
Second
sequel.
one. Yeah, usually they do.
But
Yeah.
I would have liked to have seen some resolution. But as I've said, there are some directors out there that feel that way. I personally don't, but as a director, but what are you going to do?
I know. I hate when they stop at one point and it's like, what? What
yeah,
happened
it feels
after that?
left
And that was
off.
the-
Yeah.
Yeah. But I do recommend this horror film if you're a horror fan, because like I said, if nothing else, it's something new. Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom. DC hasn't been good at doing sequels with their DCU, but this is a exception. This one was good, and it was as good as the first one. And Jason Momoa has really done the best for Aquaman. I mean, Aquaman has been constantly picked on for the last 40 years or so until Jason Momoa took over the role. Now he's actually cool.
He's doing money.
And
Well, Jason Momoa could play Hitler, and it would be cool.
yeah. Well, the previous actors who played Aquaman didn't really bring him to life the way Jason did. I mean, Jason really brought him out of the comic books. Sometimes there are actors and actresses who just can't. Well, that's my next topic, but let me finish this first. Boys in the Boat. It's a very good docudrama about canal boat racing, based on a true story. And, I was afraid it was going to be boring, but no, they kept it flowing. They kept some action at the right times. So, yes, I do recommend it. The Iron Claw. For those of you who are fans of wrestling like myself, this is an amazing movie. The problem is they couldn't get everything into it, but it was already it already had a long running time, and they couldn't get everything into it. One of the brothers had to be left out. A lot of things about the extended family had to be left out. But I mean, with as long as it was and what they did get into it, if they had put everything into it, the movie would have been 4 hours long. So it would have been nice if they do a second movie and like go back and look at the stuff that they didn't have time to do in the first one, maybe a flashback. But the whole legacy of the Von Erich family is just fascinating and very tragic. It's a shame things turned out the way they did for 5 of the 6 brothers. But they all ended their lives very early. Only Kevin made it into his made it into his later years, and Zac Efron has shown me that he has the chops. I mean, he has gone from being a teen actor in High School Musical and stuff like that to really showing what he's got as an adult, playing Kevin Von Erich. I have new respect for the man. And, Zach, I always loved you, but now I love you even more, and I respect you even more. Because you did a fascinating job with Kevin Von Erich. So I really, even if you're not a wrestling fan, I really say go see this movie. Next, we have Wonka. Now, this is a prequel to the Willy Wonka movie. Now, for everyone who's seen the first 2, the first one with Gene Wilder did a lot of deviations from the book, but it did, Gene Wilder played him kind of like the crazy mad scientist, which I loved. Now, the second version, which was more faithful to the book, with Johnny Depp playing him, Johnny kind of played him as a spoiled child with parent issues, which I did not like. Now, I'm not saying the second movie was bad. You know, it stuck closer to the book, but it just wasn't as much fun. I know it was meant to be darker, and if you've read the book does have a lot of dark places that the first movie didn't go to because they were trying to hide the dark stuff and trying to make it a feel-good movie, you know, which they did. But so the book itself is kind of a mixture, and Willy Wonka is kind of a kind of I don't know how to put it. He's doing his own thing. He wants to do his own thing, and he wants to help people. You know, I mean, one of the scenes left out of the first movie is the scene where, when they're in the boat, he sees that Charlie and Grandpa Joe are suffering food-wise, so he takes a couple mugs out and fills them full of chocolate from the river and gives it to them to drink. They did put that in the second version, only they used a ladle instead of mugs. The music that was in the first movie was great. Unfortunately, there wasn't. The only thing in the second movie was the only music that was actually in the book, and that was the Oompa Loompa songs. Mm-hmm. Everything else from the first movie was made up for the movie. I mean, Gene Wilder took a lot of liberties in the first movie. When you see him walking out at the beginning and he does that roll and comes up, nobody knew he was going to do that. So everyone's reaction is completely real.
I need to see that movie too.
Just like, I mean, there was a lot of things happening behind the scenes. I mean, when Veruca breaks open the mushroom to get the liquid chocolate out, she actually hurts her knee. And I guess the chocolate itself was a mixture of water and some kind of brown coloring, and it smelled horrible.
Oh, wow.
When they did the boat scene, nobody expected Gene Wilder to go off on it so much and for them to show the scary things that they did. So the actors in the boat were actually getting afraid that Gene was losing it. And, you know, fortunately, when it stopped, they were like, okay. I've always felt that, one of the things they put back in the second version was the fact that he built this palace of chocolate for this Indian prince, and the Indian prince wanted to live in it, not taking into account that it was going to melt. But I like the idea that the faucets gave off hot chocolate.
Ooh.
But,
see, now that's my dream. I'm alcoholic.
Wonka itself was good. I mean, the actor did a good job playing the role. They took a few liberties with the build-up, but nothing too bad. And it was just a fun movie, and it gave us a look into Willie's early time. And, despite a few liberties, it can fit in with either movie. But, I mean, it's basically each movie seems to be taking place in its own universe. So each time they make a new movie, they create a new universe. And there doesn't seem to be a lot of... one was a remake. This was a prequel. But I really recommend this film. It was great. And it had some very interesting things in it that I did not expect to see. And it was nowhere near as cheesy as the other films. Does anyone else want to talk about a film? Brandon? No?
I haven't seen any.
Me either. I gotta get out there. I haven't seen it in a while.
Trish?
Oh, I watched so many films I couldn't begin to tell you which one
Yeah.
to talk about.
Well, I like the fact that movies, I consider Beyond the Mainstream my universe a franchise. I mean, we delve into audio plays, theater plays, feature films, short films, webisodes. But just like my favorite, and the comic books and cartoons are coming, and so are the novels. Just like my favorite show of all time, Doctor Who.
Doctor, yeah.
But when you're dealing with a franchise, you know, you never quite know what you should do with it. I mean, like when they did let me give you an example. When they did the first Gremlins movie back in, I believe it was 84, maybe. You had a really good movie, and it wasn't too dark. I mean, yeah, people did get killed, especially Polly Holiday, but everyone, you know, even though she's Flo from Alice, everyone clapped when she died. But they tried to make it, Spielberg tried to make it comedic as well as horrifying. Then they waited for 8 years and made a sequel, and they did the sequel very well. They added a lot more comedic parts to it, and there really wasn't a lot of death in this except for Christopher Lee and I think Key Luke. So there were a couple deaths, but nothing really bad. I mean, at least Key Luke's character died a normal death, and when Christopher Lloyd got killed, nobody cared. But
Poor Christopher.
Christopher actually played Wonka's father in the remake movie with Johnny
really?
Depp. Yeah,
I've got
that
this.
entire sequence involving Willie and his father should never have been there, let alone be as ridiculous as it was.
Oh, I remember.
And the whole
that
sequence
part.
with the melting puppets didn't need to be there either. But Johnny seems to like twisting movies. Well, I mean, it was Tim Burton. What am I thinking? You know.
I did see that movie, and I remember that the father was the dentist.
Yeah. Well, you know, they did. I mean, in the book, Charlie's father actually has a job at putting caps on toothpaste tubes. And he doesn't make a lot of money at it, and he's trying to feed 7 people, and they edited Charlie's father out of the first movie because there's a line in there that says if only his father were still alive. But I mean, in the first movie you had the great Jack Albertson playing Grandpa Joe. The guy in the second one, as great as I've seen him in other things, I don't think he really took on the energy of the role. But maybe that was, I'm not saying he did a bad job. I'm just saying maybe that wasn't the way it was supposed to go. But it's kind of hard to walk in the footsteps of the great Jack Albertson. I mean, come on, he was Chico and the Man. He was the man alongside Freddie Prinze.
I remember that, yes.
And Scatman Carruthers.
I mean, remember that show.
That was acting royalty there. But what I find interesting, and Brandon, you might agree, when you're doing an interpretation, you should always stay faithful, and I've said this many times on the show, you need to stay faithful to the source material. But when Spielberg made his second movie, it was much higher level, more comedic, and more fun. But then he let it sit for how many years, and it's only this year that he finally went back to it. And the last one was 1992, and it's 2024, and they finally made an animated TV series, which was a prequel to the first 2 movies. And it stayed in continuity. We understand where Gizmo came from and how he got out. And we understood a lot of what was going on with the Gremlins. And again, a lot of violence. Some serious violence was done off camera. Like you saw a gremlin about to hit a man over the head with a sledgehammer. They actually did that off camera, thankfully. You saw them start it and then it switched.
Stopped.
Yeah. We don't want to see that on camera in an animated show.
No, definitely not.
I mean, and it had the comedy of the original, and it was it was done by Spielberg too. So why it took him so long to dust off Gremlins, 30 some years or whatever, I don't know, but is it a good idea to take liberties when you're adapting something, or should you try to be as close to it and faithful as possible? I mean, you can still... Go ahead.
I think it really depends on the source material.
Really?
And what you're going for. I mean, figure a film like the hell was that one with that famous guy that played Lincoln?
Mm-hmm.
Something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Where it's, I guess maybe the stuff that's based on real life events, maybe if they're serious events, you should probably stay as close to what actually happened as possible
That makes sense.
within reason.
Yeah.
Whereas, something that's maybe not as serious or isn't a documentary, you can take some liberties.
Yeah, and I mentioned earlier about comic book stories. The way they're adapted, you have to take certain liberties because in a lot of cases they just can't be adapted to the big screen. If you take X-Men Days of Future Past, in the original story, it was Kitty Pryde that went back in time, and she exchanged bodies with her younger self, and they were trying to prevent Senator Kelly from being assassinated. In the cartoon, it was Bishop that went back in time, and he did it physically, not mentally. And he, again, was trying to stop the assassination of Senator Kelly, and Gambit was thrown into the mix, it was very, it was still faithful. It just had to be different. But if you look at the movie, it's Wolverine that goes back in time, and it's not Senator Kelly that gets assassinated. It's Peter Dinklage, his character who created the Sentinels. And his character is in the books. It's just, sometimes having to adapt source material can still be good and just not be the same, But if you're going to do it, I've said before, an example of adapting material that you shouldn't do is J.J. Abrams' first two Star Trek movies that take place in the separate timeline. They are terrible. They're bad movies, and they're bad adaptations that he went in directions that he really shouldn't have. So these films are terrible. I do not recommend them under any circumstances, and thankfully they were smart enough to fire his butt and bring in somebody who knew what they were doing for the third movie to finish off the trilogy. And then when they went back to TV, forget that any of that ever happened. They designated it to an alternate timeline, which only had two effects on the regular timeline. Thank the Lord. And everything they've done since then has been wonderful. So, Paramount learned its lesson, and they were like, okay, we screwed up with these movies, but our TV shows and cartoons are going to work. And they have. So they haven't done anything bad since then. So,
yeah, you remember when they made that live-action Cat in the Hat movie? I'm sure there were some liberties taken there.
There were not a lot. Just they kind of had to drag it kicking and screaming to feature length. But unlike The Grinch, it didn't work. No offense to Mike Myers or any of the other actors. It just didn't work. It's not a story that adapted well to live action. They did that with the Jim Carrey Grinch movie. But
Jim Carrey's kind of, he conducts a master class in basically anything he's in.
Yeah, and I'm not saying Mike Myers did a bad job. I'm just saying that the conversion just didn't work, and that's why the movie didn't do very well.
Yeah.
But I mean, we've had that happen with how many situations when we've tried to adapt something to a from a cartoon to a telefilm, or from a telefilm to a feature film. You know, if it's got to be dragged kicking and screaming to feature length, then you need to add something to it that's going to make it worth watching as a feature film. I mean,
Right.
Take Bridge to Terabithia. In the book, Leslie is kind of a hippie country girl. In the telefilm, she's just kind of a nerdy tomboy. And in the feature film, she's a grunge girl with a lot of sass. And so, you know, the telefilm worked despite one or two liberties that shouldn't have been taken. The telefilm worked, and it brought out the book really well. The feature film was just kind of done, you know, it didn't work as well because it didn't make the story more interesting. It just kind of dragged it out, you know. And the modern touch to it didn't help. So, yeah, the movie wasn't as good as I hoped it would be. But there's an example of if you're going to convert a franchise, you need to know what you're doing. And you know, the animated Gremlin series I highly recommend. You know, and it was done well. You know, I mean, a big example of something that wasn't done well was the Lone Ranger movie. Okay, now that should be taken out and burned, and people should forget it ever existed. And Clayton Moore and Jay Silverheels should be happy they weren't asked to be in it. So, even though they were alive at the time, but it was a terrible movie. And Johnny, once again, you screwed it up. Okay, sometimes you're amazing, and sometimes you just screw things up. So, we only have a few seconds left. So.
I think the writing for that movie really left a boatload to be desired.
Yeah, Army Hammer. Yeah, he was not a Lone Ranger. But yeah, we could do a whole show just on this topic. We have 25 seconds left. I want to thank Trish for joining our little family here and being here with us tonight. And I want to thank the Anne McQueen for being on, and even though she was not feeling well, and of course Anne for always being here, and Brandon, despite your health, you're always there.
Yes.
So this is the Observer saying, "See you later."
Bye.
Take us away.